I'm Miss Laura with the Wichita Falls Arts Council, and today we're going to create something called a layered narrative. We'll be creating 3 layers. The first one will be making a setting. The second layer will be introducing a character. And the third layer, we're going to add to that character or develop the plot. Something is going to happen. So I'm going to start with this first one here. I'm starting with a piece of pastel cardstock. I've created a setting. It's outdoors. We have a grassy hill, flower, clouds. On layer number 2, on our first sheet of plastic, I have introduced the character, and that is a little worm. And then on layer 3, my next piece of plastic, I'm going to flip it down, and we see that the worm is now wearing a hat. So it doesn't need to be a dramatic plot or an exciting plot. It can be as simple as adding an accessory to the character, or even adding something around the character, or introducing another one. Here's one that takes place on a body of water. We have sky, water, a little sun. Layer 2, we introduce our character, which is a bird enjoying some recreation on a boat. And then the final layer, we find out that the bird is the mayor. Oh, this is one with multiple characters. So we have these floating rocks with holes in them. We introduce our characters on layer 2, which are these different colored little blobs coming out of the holes. And then on layer 3, you find out they have little faces. And then one more bird one. We have another outdoor setting with a little house and a sun. We introduce our character in the next layer, which is a pigeon. And then the third layer, you find out that it has a little human arm. Okay. So we're using 1 sheet of pastel cardstock. So it's a lighter color, and cardstock is a slightly thicker paper. And this is going to give our project a little bit of weight so that it stays flat. I'm also using 2 half sheets of plastic transparency sheets. They'll probably come on these little divider paper sheets to protect them from getting scratched or dirty. So we're going to start with layer 1, creating a setting. So this can be a very simple setting. Maybe you can just put a ground if you want it to be outside, or you can choose to do something more elaborate. Maybe it's in space or it's indoors somewhere, whatever you want to create for your setting. And I recommend starting with a color that matches the setting you want to create. So I'm just going to start here, and I recommend setting a timer and taking about 10 minutes to create this setting. And remember, we're not gluing our character down. This is just the background where everything is going to happen. We're going to introduce our character later. Okay, once you're done with your background, you're going to grab your first sheet of plastic. I don't need the paper backing, I just need the sheet of plastic. I'm going to lay it directly on top of my background. Everything is glued down on my background. And I'm going to find my blue tape. And we're using blue tape so that it doesn't hurt the paper when we take it off. This blue tape is also temporary, and it's just to hold things in place while we're working and to make sure that things stay aligned. So I'm going to rip off two very tiny pieces. Pretty little. And I'm going to place a piece at the top and the bottom. And then pick up both sheets together and fold the piece of tape over the top and over the edge of the bottom. This way my piece of plastic is secured and I can start adding my character to layer number 2, which is the plastic layer, or our first plastic layer. So I'm going to draw that character out of paper, or draw that character on paper, cut it out and glue it directly onto the plastic where I want that character in this setting. I can also draw directly onto the plastic with a Sharpie if I want to create some finer details that are difficult to cut out of paper. I recommend setting a timer of at least 8 minutes to do this section. Once you're finished adding your character or characters, you can create multiples. You're going to add your final piece of plastic, or plastic sheet number 2. For our final layer, we're going to tape it just like we did that first piece of plastic with 2 little pieces of blue tape at the top and the bottom, and they can go right over where you put your previous pieces of the tape. Okay, so this is layer 3, and this is where we either add to the character directly or we develop the plot in some sort of way. We can introduce a different kind of weather. Maybe it's raining, maybe it's sunny, maybe the cat is eating pizza, or a new character is introduced. I think I'm going to introduce a new character. that gets glued or drawn directly onto this third sheet of plastic. And then in a few moments, I'm going to show you putting it all together with the brads. Okay, once you're done adding everything to your third layer, everything is glued down. We need to punch 2 holes so that we can fasten one side of our project with 2 brads. So I'm going to try to keep them pretty evenly spaced. I'm going to the left side. I'm going to make 2 dots, making sure I'm not too close to the edge because I don't want the paper to rip where the brads are located. Okay, once I have my 2 dots drawn, I'm going to grab a hole punch. And I'm punching right where I drew the dots, and my hole punch is tiny, so 2 little holes, gonna get my 2 brads and place them through both of the holes. And then open up the little tabs on the back. Securing all of my papers together. Okay, and at this point, I can take off my tape pretty carefully so I don't rip the paper. Background, character, development. Okay, thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.